Alright. I'm really hoping to get my talents. I'm going to do a commentary for our 23 Azure Vault we did last week. It's with the same group I did keys with today. We've kind of been pushing together. It's a group we literally just randomly found on a pug. Obviously a no comms group, as I've been saying. So we did a lot of keys last week. I know after this we go into some... We have a Shadow Moon and a Court left, as well as an Algathar from last week that I'm going to do commentaries over as well. But yeah, I kind of want to do a commentary for this. I think this is a 23 Azure Vault, if I'm remembering correctly. I'm really hoping I show talents. If not, I can just go through the talents that I picked, because I know which ones I picked. Come on, pause. Show your talents. Show your talents. Okay, I guess we're not showing talents. So the main thing for this, obviously on Fort Week, you're running Frostbite Sub-Zero. Same fort build that basically you always do. The only difference that I've been changing with my fort build is deciding to choose either Dragon's Breath or Time Manipulation. I did decide to run Dragon's Breath for Azure Vault, where obviously we're going to be doing the no frogs route, so a lot of the adds that can happen here, the piercing shards, are pretty dangerous, especially on fortified weeks. So I kind of just wanted to have that safety. If I end up doing less overall because I'm taking Dragon's Breath, oh well. Obviously, I'd rather time a key than, you know, brick it because I want to do more damage. So I obviously should be casting here. Obviously, already losing out on DPS to start. For this pull, you obviously, as a Frost Mage or any mage in general, these Crystal Furies, their Arcane Fury cast is something that you can spell steal. It's a 30% damage buff, or 35. Don't remember the exact number. But obviously, these are the two buffs here. It's 10-second buffs that you have this damage buff, so obviously when you're doing the Lust pull here, it's pretty massive, but any of the Crystal Fury packs, you already have 3 of them now, so 3 30% damage buffs, and you'll see that I'm actually slamming after I show you my damage meters after the next pull. Here, obviously, just simple AoE rotation, Frozen Orb always out, keeping Blizzard up time, Rune of Power. I didn't end up shattering my Cone of Cold because I didn't have Ice Nova at the time, and I kind of just wanted to get it out to start rebuilding my stacks for the next one. 436k, not getting PI. Obviously, still during Lust, so it's pretty good still. But I did run Snowstorm for this key. That is another talent choice that I decided to make. Snowstorm can be used. It really depends on the group you guys are using and the route you guys are taking. You can really run it in either case. If you're running frogs or the no frog route, either works. It also depends how big your tank's actually going to pull, but I think the damage you gain from Snowstorm, especially in AoE, is more important than the damage you would get from Wintertide on bosses. Snowstorm's a pretty big AoE gain compared to the single target buff that you get from Wintertide, and in best case scenario, like in a perfect world, you wouldn't be rock munching any of your ice lances anyways, so the second portion of Wintertide would go to complete waste. I am running, again, for Fort Weeks, I'm running Iceblood Death Snare and an Icon. I'm pretty sure I'm saving my second Lust here for the next pack, because I know we're going to pull big here. Again, using the Shattered Cone of Cold there. Since I didn't have Ice Nova up because I'm not running Time Manipulation, I decided to just Frost Nova and then Cone of Cold. Same difference, just make sure you can shatter your Cone of Cold if possible. If you can stack these Wild Eruptions, you're able to bait them in the same spot, and it's obviously really beneficial, especially when they'll basically like two-shot you on higher 4 keys. Not really needed, but Again, always keeping Blizzard up on 2 targets. Anything more than 2 targets and keys. I know it's sometimes asked to do it that way, but it technically is a damage increase while running Freezing Rain and Ice Collar and Freezing Winds. So again, the 2 Crystal Furies here, spell steal them. You see I have 2 of the Arcane Fury buffs. Pretty massive damage spike, again, like I said, so make sure you are spell stealing those as much as possible. Communicate that with your group. For here, I'm getting into melee because I know I'm basically going to be one of the next CCs, because I saw that both Hodge, Incap Roar, and another form of CC went out, so I got into melee range to make sure I could Dragon's Breath. The only bad part I know with running Frostbite and Sub-Zero is, as you saw just there, I went to Blast Wave the mobs. Unfortunately, when I went to Blast Wave, they were frozen from Frostbite. The talent that just has a 10% chance to freeze your targets. So it just happens. Here I should be sending my orb. Not really worth holding. This next area is probably one of my least favorite areas as a Frost Mage. It's just you're always moving and you don't have really a spot to place Blizzard or Frozen Orb, so you kind of just lose a lot of damage here. But make sure you're just having prio targets for and calling who's going to interrupt which tenders. Luckily, we have a healer who's pretty willing to do like almost all explosives as a disc priest, which is really nice. Frost Mage is a class that at least can help some. Not great, obviously, but it's better than some that don't have anything really. It sucks to send a Fingers of Frost proc and do a explosive, but obviously, again, like I said earlier, I'd rather do that than deplete a key because I'm not willing to help. So obviously, you're just 3 target. Blizzard, Frozen Orb, Ice Lances. I am using Flurries without shattering them here in 3 target. Kind of feel crafty there. I know you can. I think it actually is a increase at 3 target, or it gets more of an increase the higher targets it goes. You normally do want to be shattering your Flurries. I think you still shatter them at 2 target, but I'm not sure if it's exactly 3 or it might be a little higher. It might be 5. I don't remember the exact numbers. I don't pay too close attention to things like that, but I haven't been shattering my Flurries in AoE. Also, since I did hold my lust for that like 4th ad pack, I'm not gonna get another lust here for the group because I am the only lust in our group. So it is a little unfortunate for me running the double lust talent just because I am gonna lose value on it. But there, I did, with my rune at the start of combat, I basically stayed in as long as possible. Obviously, I was going to need to move from where the tank was standing, but or where he planned on using the frontal. Here, you always want to try and precast your Blizzard on the location the tank's going to be if you can. On Tyrannical or on Fortified, it's not too big of a thing to not have any defensives rolling for this boss for the stomps, as long as you get all the trees. You saw I basically just had Barrier and Mirror Image rolling, and I got hit from the 75% health. So it doesn't do a whole lot on Fortified weeks. On Tyrannical, it's definitely advised to have defensives up. The main thing for this is I wouldn't recommend using a defensive for the original tree hit where you're where you're getting rid of the trees in this dungeon. You shouldn't be dying from that at all in any case, as long as you're topped up. So like what I just did right there, I would not recommend. I barriered before the explosion, and now basically going into this next explosion right here, I have nothing other than, G Invis. I got healed to full, so it didn't really matter, but it still chunked me to 50%. That is where I recommend using your barrier for. You shouldn't need it, like I said, you shouldn't need it for the trees. You should just be able to use it for the actual explosive brand, or whatever it's called. And now just the typical single target rotation here. Obviously, as soon as the ads are spawned, you want to be blizzarding them. Unfortunately, you know, he does bring them out of my blizzard, so it's not getting as much value as I could be. You want to be saving if you don't really necessarily want to save, but if you can, use your snowstorm stacks for this portion right here. So now you're seeing I'm going into a blizzard. I'm looking for an ice nova into a cone of cold. That's where you're going to get your most value from Storestorm if you're running it in this key. As you saw there again, I didn't have any barrier up. I used my barrier for the original slam, and it chunked me down to 15% health. So again, don't recommend doing that. So this next pack is another one that's very good for mages, just because of the spell steal. There's 4 Arcane Furies in here. I wouldn't recommend trying to spell steal all of them. I would just recommend trying to do either 2 or 3, and then getting into your spells, because if you're spell stealing all of them, that's basically 4 GCDs, and by the time you get the 4th one off, you start casting spells. The first buff is only going to have 5 seconds left. I think it's more worth to just be casting spells with 2 or 3 of the debuffs than worrying about spell stealing all of them. So I'm using my mouse over Arcane Fury. Like I said, I did only end up using 3 of them here. You want to focus the Crystal Lester here if you can. Let your tank know prior to these pulls, because it is very likely that you will steal threat. As you see, I'm doing 300k on this pack. Again, I didn't have Ice Nova, so I decided to Frost Nova into a Cone of Cold. Not ideal, but better than not trying to shatter your Cone of Colds. Unfortunately, we are holding on to Lust here for a little bit. I think we end up using it on this first pack here, which is still fine. But obviously the best case scenario would be us lusting on that pack right there for us. But obviously, doesn't really matter too much. I decided not to. I did end up going with the Ice Nova Shatter for these guys here. Obviously, like I said, anytime you can shatter your Cone of Cold, do it. If there's times where you don't have Ice Nova or you can't, or it's a mob that can't get frozen, just send your Cone of Cold. It's better for you to be using your stacks than it is to wait and potentially lose them, or wait for like a best case scenario. There are some cases where it's like an end of the pack and like 1 mob, and otherwise you could just be saving it for another pack that's going to be like a mass AoE pack. But here's a little rough, just from how far the ads were spread. As Frost, we do need the ads to be really close for us to actually get value from all of our abilities. You know, Blizzard, Frozen Orb. I wanted to use Death Snare here as well, so we also were just getting Lust on cooldown, so sending Lust on this pack, and then it's now the general area rotation. We did end up getting an icy bindings going off here. As you saw, we ended up getting rooted. Typically, I kind of leave that up to the tank, but that's something you can communicate with your group. One good thing, I'm running Ice Flows, as you can see, which means I'm running Blink, and Blink can get you out of any roots and stuns. So if that does happen, Blink will save you, like it just saved me. Otherwise, I was basically dead. Again, I didn't have Ice Nova there, going for the Frost Nova Cone of Cold Shatter. I didn't really like what we did here. I felt this wasted some time, which we discussed it afterwards too. Of going left and then coming back right and then going left again. But again, the Crystal Furies in this pack, the Arcane Fury they cast, always spell steal it. Massive damage buff for us. If you can, also have down your Rune of Power at the time. It's one of the only case scenarios where, you know, you're actually going to have some form of burst damage as a Frost Mage. Oh, I forgot to update my title. Oops. Good enough. I'm glad the Warrior said something because I almost jumped into the pat there, which would have been quite the yikes, but... Again, as you see, any of these packs that have the Crystal Furies up, we should be top damage. You should be spell stealing the Arcane Furies. Again, that's something you need to communicate with your group. A lot of groups will try and interrupt those Arcane Furies, but if you have a mage in your group, always spell steal them. Oh, we didn't actually end up wanting to pull this pack, but, you know, lucky for me, this means I get 2 Arcane Furies. I'm not going to complain. I think I actually missed my Cone of Cold entirely there. Oh well. In these packs, if you can, as a ranged, interrupt the heavy tomes. You should leave the other kicks, whether it's the Arcane Bolts or the Breaking Banes to other people. Obviously, the only reason you would interrupt the heavy tomes is because those mobs are a lot harder to move with their Forbidden Knowledge. They can be standing out away from packs. We do have 2 ranged, and then a Pally, and then a Priest that has no interrupts, so any ranged interrupts are kind of on me to get. Again, here, even though it feels ass to do, I'm in 2 target. I'm sending Blizzard. I got stunned by Thundering while trying to look at the route. We were looking to see, since we accidentally pulled that 2-pack, what people we didn't have to do. So, our original plan down here was to do a triple and a double pack, but now that we have basically had that, we accidentally pulled that pack, I just told the tank to do 2 double packs. It wouldn't really make any difference. It would just make it a lot less likely for us to die in any of these packs. I have no clue how my orb went this direction. We're just not going to discuss that. Here, very good thing I use in a lot of keys when tanks end up dying. Obviously didn't do any good, but if a tank dies and you have mirror image, you can mirror image and your mirror images can tank. So yeah. This is a long run back for us. As Mage, you don't necessarily have to take these books. You can slow fall down. You can just jump down and slow fall, but... I am saving my Destiny here because I knew he was going to pull another pack. Again, like I said, don't really try and interrupt, or don't really try and save them for anything. Just try and send it on cooldown. But here I did actually end up getting that ranged kick on the Elemental. There was no other way the mob was going to get into the pack. Here, the only really important cast is making sure the ice bindings don't go off. And Arcane Bolt. I just interrupted Arcane Bolt. Make sure he gets into melee. Again, here, Crystal Fury packs, making sure you're spell stealing the Arcane Furies. It's really a massive buff for mages. There's no reason we shouldn't be spell stealing them. As you see again, anytime I'm using the Arcane Fury, I'm always tapping the meters. It's very beneficial to spell steal those. It's basically a rune of power every time you're spell stealing, and they stack. I hear still sending the unshattered flurries. This is one of the areas that I hate the most as Frost Mage. Like, absolutely hate it. It's really bad because all of these Vault Guards have this debuff. You saw I just spell steal from one of them. I'll go back to it so you guys can actually see it. The debuff charge. It's any of the things that make them have like these blue scales. That's basically what I'm going to spell steal here in a sec. So the one I'm targeting is now blue. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it basically makes them take 30% reduced magic damage. My personal idea is I only spell steal one of them and focus that target down. I don't think it's worth for you to be casting 3 globals to spell steal them from every single mob. Especially since I'm the only person who's really doing magic damage to them. It's not really beneficial. If I'm doing 30% less damage, which obviously you see from my damage, it definitely sucks, but again here, the only kick you need to make sure you're kicking is the Icy Bindings here. I did end up overlapping my runes there. I just wanted to get Icy Bands on cooldown as soon as possible. And again with the Vault Guard, and now I'm targeting the Vault Guard because they're the only mob that will have the scales in this pack. Again, you saw me spell steal it, which is the buff that's right up here. It does nothing for us offensively. Obviously it can help defensively, but there's no magic damage that we're really going to take. All it really does is make sure that the mob will actually take full damage from us. With a 30% DR for all of our damage is not good. Also, I'm not really sure how this happened. My Ice Lance cleaved and hit that mob. I didn't think that Ice Lances cleaved until it was a mob that you were in combat with. But I'm wondering if it's because we mind-soothed it that it considered it as in combat with us. But, yeah, that's something that to be careful with. Again, just use the Death Snare trinket here. Obviously not a good case. It's single target, but, you know, just get it on cooldown. There's no really good cases for us to use that trinket anymore, and then for the rest of this key. You can stun the unstable powers that the little elemental guys put out with either Dragon's Breath or Blast Wave, but it's not really needed. It's just small things you need to dodge. What up, Adronis? Indeed, art and winning. I'm almost 3,200, so I'm doing some commentaries for some keys. Again here, I'm only spell stealing one of the Vault Guards. If any. Yeah, this is a group that I got into push keys with. We are a no comm push group. We literally just don't use comm. So we're just full sending all of our keys. For these mobs, you do want to be someone who's focusing these draconic images. Obviously, since it's 2-target, unfortunately, it is beneficial for us to blizzard on them. We do have all forms of CC that work, so Blast Wave and Dragon's Breath both actually work to stun the images. So in the last case scenario, you have no actual interrupt. You can do it. This is the part that I hate the most as Frost Mage. So I wouldn't hate it as much if the boss in the center wasn't actually immune. But all of our Ice Lances cleaving from the side adds onto the boss actually only count as being single target. So we're not actually getting the benefit for Icy Propulsion to reduce our Icy Veins cooldown. And there's obviously a lot of movement in this phase with dodging all the balls and dodging the explosion circles. It's a really important phase for using defensives too. So you basically want all your defensives going into basically every single one. Whether that's Ice Block, G-Invis. I ended up G-Invising here because I kind of got scared near the end. I'm saving my next Frozen Orb here for the Draconic Image and throwing it there because I know the tank should bring it close. As a range, typically you want to be the first interrupt for either the first or second ad. I would probably recommend being the interrupt for the first ad just because that means your interrupt will be back up for the third ad that comes up. But it always depends, especially for the first ad, since the Arcane Cleave lines it up so that the tank actually won't be able to have the boss near the ad when he spawns. So you see now I interrupt for the first one, and now I get another interrupt for the second one. Here I'm now saving my orb for intermission to make sure I have Fingers of Frost procs to use there. Again, I tried casting Blizzard here, just, having a Blizzard on both a mob and the boss in the middle. But like I said, since it's immune, it doesn't really do anything. Sometimes I cast a Blizzard on, like, a fart enemy, just so I'm doing some form of damage to a different enemy all the time. But yeah, this boss is not fun for Frost Mage. Not really fun for a lot of classes, to be fair. Unfortunately, it is a fight that we're still pretty good on. You see I'm doing 65k here. Just because of the ads and the whole boss burn phases. So. And now just kind of going into full boss burn. I think we end up just leaving the next ad. Thank you for the follow as well, Lavix. Again, you saw me Dragon's Breath. You saw the Dragon's Breath actually interrupted. And now we're basically on to the last two bosses. We have 7 minutes to do the last two bosses on Fortified Week, which should be enough time. This is a skip you can do. Priests, mages, anybody that has any form of slow fall, levitate. Warriors can heroic leap, whatever. All that works. For this, obviously I didn't even have it to start. I didn't have Icy Veins to start this. I don't typically recommend using Icy Veins to start. One little thing that I know I'm doing here as a Frost Mage Once you get the frost bombs and you have a rune of power out, whether that's your Icy Veins rune of power or your hard casted rune of power, if you can use your frost bomb and move it to the side, so you're still in your rune of power, so when the explosion goes off, you still have all the space that you're going to be in your rune of power for afterwards. So instead of just standing in the center of your rune of power when it's happening, you can still benefit from your rune of power even this entire time. Yeah, Potion of Gust will also work for it. In this immune phase, he's not technically immune. I think he's 99. Yeah, he's like 99% damage reduction. Don't use any of your procs. You should just be basically building your icicles from Frostbolt, and you can obviously build both Fingers of Frost and Brain Freeze procs. But at the time, really just use Frostbolt to build icicles. There's nothing else we can really do. For Icy Devastator, you're actually able to, once the cast actually goes on you, you can use both Invis or, well, G-Invis or Invis to cancel the cast. It doesn't work if you do it before the cast actually starts. He'll just retarget somebody. So you have to do it after the cast actually happens. I kind of got stuck there between a lot. Not great, but, it happens. Again, try having your defenses up for every single one of these intermission things if you can, whether it's G-Invis, Mirror Image, Barrier, anything like that. I always blink into it just because, obviously, the blink gives you a little tiny shield. It's better than nothing. Again, doing the rune of power things. Putting your rune of power, moving to the side. I probably should have waited to cast my Icy Veins until I got into this clear area, because I'm basically wasting this entire rune. So not great usage there. I also should have thrown my Frozen Orb before rune of powering, or before shifting power. I basically lost the whole point of the CDR from rune of power, or from shifting power there. We got very unlucky. Obviously, 800 pull or 800 health, 800k health when he goes into his immune phase isn't great, but this leaves us like 3.5 minutes for the last boss, which is still very doable. For this, I typically like trying to save a Rune of Power or Icy Veins for the intermission sections, but obviously boss damage is really important for us here, since we are so tight on time. I don't think it's really worth for us saving the cooldowns at all. If you can, use Blizzard in any of the multiple target things. So I Blizzarded the 2 targets, the 2 fractures that were here. It is basically going to be my job to kill any of the crystals that are in that are far away, because I'm the only ranged in our group. So I basically kind of need to be cognizant of that too, whether the shards are in melee or in ranged or anywhere close to them. Yeah, it's a lot bigger of an issue for Tran weeks with how big the health in the crystals are. So basically this crystal is so far away from everything else. I just Blizzarded the 3 target and then immediately went to single targeting this hardened crystal, especially the hardened crystal, the one that has the extra shield on it. Very important for you to actually damage through. I would recommend One thing that Thundering does for this boss that is very good is when you have Thundering, it basically makes sure that you aren't movement impaired. So it's really important for you to actually clear Thundering. I'm actually not positive you can spell steal it. I don't think so, but I'm not sure. Again, here I saw there was these three things. I put a blizzard on them, and then I went to single targeting this ad. There's obviously no way that our feral or a warrior are going to be able to reach this ad, especially with all of the bombs over here. So that's basically my sole responsibility is to getting that one. Oh, I know what happens here. Ready to see some glorious blizzard, multi-dollar company. I died to an orb there. That's me getting hit from an orb. Happens, I guess. Apparently, invisible orbs are a thing. Our tank also died right here. He just got meleeed from Dragon Strike. So our key almost went to absolute shit in the last, 20 seconds. But, that happens. But yeah, obviously the Arcane Fury route is pretty good. The Crystal Fury route is pretty good for Frost Mages, or any mage in general who can spell steal. I was running Snowstorm for this key. You can kind of decide to run Wintertide if you want, but I think Snowstorm is better for this key, especially because you aren't going to benefit as much from everything from Wintertide. And there obviously are a lot of ads in this. The ads are pretty important. So yeah, that's my commentary for this 23 Azure Vault. We went from this, like I said, we did a bunch of other keys with this group. But yeah, that's my commentary for this 23 Azure Vault.